I was going to say it's nice to see you have a TNA wrestling hat. That is one of the things fans keep pointing out.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of become my signature hat. When you don't have any hair, it's easy to wear a hat because your hair doesn't get messed up. So it's nice.
Fair enough. So first thing I want to talk about, Slamversary Fade to Black. Obviously, a lot of fans are very excited about this. What can people expect to see from it?
Yeah, so if you've seen the teaser, it's got a lot of emotion. It's got a lot of heart and soul. I think if you see the teaser, you want to watch the show. And the show, I think, is even better than the teaser. And it's that way because I think it's all very, very personal. It's very heartfelt. And I think the team down in Nashville did an amazing job of letting people come in and meet our announce team, meet some of the staff that makes the show happen, certainly meet some of our wrestlers and see the hard work and what the hard work means to them. And because sometimes we can all get caught up in any show, in any live event that people kind of think it just happens. Like people just snap their fingers and great performances happen. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, whether you're in live sports, live entertainment, live sports and entertainment, there's a lot of hard work that goes in. And I think this is a little peek backstage in that feeling that everyone goes through before they get in the ring in front of everyone in the arena, and then how they feel when they leave the ring, because that post emotional piece is also just as big as it is when they go out there. And so it's a great show. I encourage everyone to get on TNA Plus and take a watch.
It kind of, from what I've seen, has that old school TNA feel where, fans were embraced as kind of part of the TNA family, that kind of thing. And it opens that door again for fans to get to know the real TNA once more.
I think it absolutely does, Adam, and it's really well stated. If you know of Eric Tompkins, who's been at TNA for years, and the team that we have in Nashville, that's been the real heart and soul of Impact Wrestling, that's on every Thursday night. They brought this pilot to me, and we really shot Fade to Black first as a pilot. We've obviously now greenlit it. We're going to be doing more of these across, probably starting with our pay-per-views and then our PLEs, and then we're going to look at how we continue to expand it. But they had that in their brains. I've always had very much a personal feeling of wanting to give people a credential to events, because most fans don't get credentials. I've always, in running teams, in running leagues, in running sports properties and TV networks, I always wanted people to get to see some of the stuff that I get to see. And so I think there's a little of that combination with what the Nashville team was thinking, some of what's been in my brain for years, and I think it really all came together with Fade to Black.
Cool. I am excited to see the full thing when it comes out. I just want to kind of talk about your time at TNA since you joined. One thing with TNA is it's always kind of been on the cusp, and then things have happened, or there's been different leadership changes, and there's never been much stability in recent years. So, what can you say to fans who have been with TNA for all this time and kind of reassure them that the stability is there and that now TNA is on the right path?
I don't know if it's really anything that I can say, Adam. I think it's really just look at the product, look at even the last 6 months and how it's continued to grow from the beginning of the year, going through a great show that we had in Los Angeles, going through a great show that we've now had in New York City. We're on the road to Boston and Lowell, Mass, outside of Boston. And I can say everything I can say to try and encourage them to feel that way, but I think it's more important that they feel that way from the shows. I think hopefully they saw that at Slamversary. They see the passion, they see the positivity and the emotions that everyone's putting into all the hard work, and we're going to keep doing that. That's fun. It's fun to win. It's fun to win as a team. We're going to keep doing that, and hopefully the fans will just tell me that instead of me having to tell them. Because if I can say it all I want, and every executive that wears the hat of their organization says it, but I think it's more important to just show everyone that that's what we're doing. And I think you'll keep seeing it as we go through the rest of the year. And I've said it before. I think Slamversary launches us into a different trajectory, but it's still on us to perform every day. Like there's no free lunch here. Like you got to come to work every day. You got to work hard. You got to hit your marks, and you got to perform. And that's on me, and that's on every single person on the staff, and that's on every single wrestler that enters the ring. And if we all do it together, we'll get wins.
Yeah. How have you found being involved in wrestling? Because obviously you have a sports background, but that is very different to the world of wrestling, I guess.
Everyone's told me that it's very different. I think it's somewhat different. Every single organization is different. What the Olympics is different than top tier tennis. Swimming, gymnastics, skiing, MMA. They're all a little different. When I entered and ran an MMA organization in World Series of Fighting that we sold and created Professional Fighters League, I was told I wasn't an MMA guy. You know what you do? You sit, you learn, you listen, you surround yourself with great teammates, and then you bring your experiences and you combine them with them. And so far so good. I love it. I've always loved the passion in many of these sports and properties that I've been associated with. And there's even more of it in wrestling and pro wrestling than I ever thought. And I think it comes from the fans. I remember being in one of my first events. We were outside of Dallas, and it was a cold and kind of rainy, cold winter day in Dallas. And most people think of Dallas as warm and sunny, and there were 4,000 fans standing outside with the doors weren't even opening for an hour. And I could see it. I could have this feeling of the passion that all of these fans have. And I think the fandom in pro wrestling is bigger than nearly any of the big sporting and pro events that I've been a part of. And it's nice to be a part of that.
So what's the biggest thing you've learned then about wrestling that you didn't know before?
It's probably that last piece that I just mentioned. I didn't really understand the power of the fandom in wrestling. I experienced it. I experienced it when Joe Hendry came into the arena at WrestleMania and Adam, I've been at a lot of I was at the Olympics when Evander Holyfield gave the torch to Muhammad Ali to light the cauldron in Atlanta in 1996. I've been in the arena when Usain Bolt broke the 100-meter world record. But I have to tell you, when you get in the middle of these pro wrestling events, the fandom is bigger, the fandom is more passionate, and it's crazy in a good way. And I love that. I love that fans enjoy it so much. And so for me, that's been a huge pleasant surprise in coming into this organization.
So speaking of the fans, there are two things that the UK fans are desperate for. One is a TV deal. And I guess the second one is more kind of generally wrestling fans, but they want a new TNA game as well. Can you shed any light on if there's any possibility of those two things?
Well, I think there's one that you left out. There's some better distribution in the UK. There's maybe a game in the UK, but there's also coming to the UK and showing up in the UK for an event. And we'd like certainly working on distribution. UK is a very important market for us. So as I talk about working on distribution in the States, we now have a great deal in Canada with Sportsnet. We have a great deal in Mexico and South America in Claro. We have a great deal in India with Warner Brothers Discovery. We want to have a great deal in the UK, and we're working on that with a partner. And I think as we look at that, plus some sponsorship, we will then also come to the UK, and we're hoping that that'll happen in 2026. It's in our goals list, and so I think that will hopefully launch us. In terms of the game, we didn't set that as a priority in these first 6 months since I've been here, but it's now gotten added to the list. we just had to do some things to really drive and create the kind of stuff that we have with Slamversary. Like everything in an organization, if you do too many things, you don't get anything done. And so we had to concentrate on some successes. But I think now coming out of some success, we can now put that on the docket and look to understand where we go with the TNA game for sure.
Cool. Obviously, you've got the partnership now with WWE. Have you found that's kind of opened to more doors in regards to like TV deals, games, tours, that kind of thing?
Everything's open. It's open doors everywhere, and I think it's been the power of the partnership. It's been a big benefit for TNA, and we appreciate everything that WWE and NXT has done, and they've done it like with pleasure. They've made it a true partnership. We've moved wrestlers up and down, and even as sideways with AAA, and we're working very closely with them in Mexico as well. The NXT team has been so easy to work with, and it's been nice to do some things. Even seeing the Hardys yesterday on SummerSlam and getting having them talk about what's going to happen at Bound for Glory. And so all of it's really gone well, but like everything, you got to keep, with any good marriage, you have to work every day at it. And so we take that hard work very seriously. We're going to keep trying to be good partners to them, and in turn, they'll be good partners back to us.
How did that deal come about? Like who made that first phone call?
The deal had really been in process well before I showed up at all levels, from Len Asper, our chairman, through a number of folks that had started to do some movement. When I arrived, the deal had mostly been put together, and I was able to work on the sort of the final throws and get it signed in February this year. And then we've just really worked hard at it, especially in these last sort of since WrestleMania, where I think it's really started to take shape. And on a weekly basis, we're in contact with each other to help get things done.
So what's the long-term goal with that then?
I don't know that we're looking too far down the road. I think we sort of look in 3 months, 6 month, and 9 month windows. I think it's to continue to create great experiences for the fans. And as I've said to so many people, I mean, you see it everywhere. There'll be opportunities for all of us if we continue to make TNA a great product. And so that's what we're going to really just concentrate on, continuing to make TNA a great product.
Cool. Last couple of questions. So what have you, with all your experience in other sports, what's one thing that you've brought to TNA that you kind of learned over all those years in other sports?
Maybe just that being a big sports guy, I think the team is really important, and you need to have a good team, and everyone needs to play their position. And so I have to play my position. I can't play every position. I'm not good at certain positions, but then I've got to find some of the best people to play the other positions. And at times, even if you have to make some hard decisions to make some changes, you do that. And I think that happens in sport. That's the way it works. I mean, no one could believe that Lionel Messi was going to get traded to an MLS team in Florida, but they made a huge deal, and it helped to propel Beckham's team in Florida and the MLS. And so in sport and entertainment, you make hard decisions and you put a great team together. And I hope that that's the piece that I've brought to TNA. And I'm thankful that so far everyone's responding to that really positive team attitude that we have.
And if you had like a TNA wish list and you could do one thing with the company, anything whatsoever, what would it be?
I mean, it's the thing that weighs on us every day. Is I want to create bigger and better distribution deals so that the audience can grow, and around the world everyone can see. It pains me sometimes that these wrestlers work so hard and put their heart and soul into the ring, and also just the hard work they put in well before they get in the ring, and not as many people get to see it as I want them to. And I tell that to the team every day. How do we open this up? How do we get more people? How do we use all the tools that we've got, not just our deal with Access TV or TNA Plus or YouTube or Roku or Tubi or Sportsnet or Clark, all of them. It's like in today's world, and I know this pretty well, having been in the TV landscape for the last 25 years around a lot of disruption. You got to stay light on your feet, and you got to find ways to get great product out to the audience. And so that's what we're going to keep doing. And so that's really on my wish list, is just to continue to grow the audience every single day.
Cool. And last question. With every wrestling company, anyone who's ever in charge at some point gets in the ring in some form. Are we going to see you in the ring at any point?
I've already been in the ring. I've already been in the ring, Adam.
Physically. Like taking physical bumps.
That's not in the plan. Right now, you know, someone asked me earlier, you know, what character you play. I'm the president of TNA. And that is absolutely a character, but it's a character in every business. The president of any business is a character, and it's a real character with real hard work behind it. And you know, recently I've been giving away a few of the championship belts. We're going to continue to do some things like that, but currently I don't have any plans to take a bump or go through a table. I have no desire to break a table.
Fair enough. Last one. Obviously, Bound for Glory has had kind of record pre-sale tickets. What can fans expect from Bound for Glory this year?
Yes, thank you, Adam, for pointing that out. We have had record pre-sale over the last 48 hours. It's been great. I think Bound for Glory is again, let's set a record together. Let's have the biggest attendance ever at an event. We've set up the arena to break what we did at UBS Arena on Long Island with Slamversary. I want the fans to come out and support us, and let's keep growing it together. There's going to be some great matches. We already know about so many of them. The list is too long, and I'm sure there'll be a few more surprises between now and then that will make Bound for Glory leave Slamversary and be even bigger than Slamversary.